Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So we got a lot of elections to cover. We have this election to go. The results are out for St. Lucia. We have an ongoing election that is on a knife's edge between a Donald Trump-backed conservative and a centrist candidate himself. They're on a knife's edge. It's really unclear to tell which one's going to win at this point. We'll review that election when that ends. We'll also talk about Chile's election coming up. I want to believe it's like the 14th. It was like around, I can actually pull up a calendar, see if there's a calendar. Yes, there is a calendar. So you have Honduras. Chile's election is on the 14th, okay? So 14th, that is realistically the next election we'll be talking about, other than Honduras, which is going on right now. But going forward, with that, we can go ahead and talk about St. Lucia, which is an island in the Lesser Antilles. We just talked about one of their neighbors, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's another country down south, further south, and they did something very rare, and they ended up electing a conservative. Something that a lot of these tiny island North American countries don't tend to do. These Caribbean islands don't like doing. They don't like electing these even center-right or center conservative political parties. They keep electing these socialist labor like parties. And you'll see with the outcome here. You'll see it was quite a big wave for the Labour Party. Philip J. Pierre winning on the spot with, of course, his Labour Party getting 14 seats of a pickup. Actually, no, not net change. A net change of 1 seat. Okay. You'll see 55.77% of the vote. So with that being said, St. Lucia still held under the power of the Labour Party. It is, of course, a liberal, progressive country. You'll see Ellen Chastanet, I don't know how you pronounce that name, but you'll see that he managed in he runs under the UWP, that is the United Workers Party, and that is a center-right party, despite like what looks like and what seems to be a left-wing sort of title, but apparently they do caucus with more of the progressive or more progressive left fiscally of things, but they are aligned with more Christian democracy and something like that. So they took an L today, although they weren't blown out. They just lost 1 seat. Let's compare it to 2021 to see what seats they lost. Okay, this one tells. All right, it's this one right here. This constituency ended up going red. In 2021, you saw this constituency. You had 2 constituencies going for the Workers' Party. The darker one is the one they still have. That's pretty much the ones being contested in this said election. 17 seats. But yes, you also have this seat. Going forward, yep, it flipped to... Of course, it flipped to the seat there. Yeah, they only have 1 seat, really. This is 2025. They used to have 2. Yep, they used to have 2 seats. This is all the seats. So obviously, in order to win the House of Assembly in St. Lucia, one party has to obtain at least 9-seat majority pretty easy to do. You have what seem the two big political parties in St. Lucia are Labour Party and the UWP, and they, of course, did just that, and they picked up a relatively, let's see here, this seat, yes, that's a seat that the SLP, the ruling party, the Labour Party, has picked up. Not really much to say than the results tend to go further to the ruling party's favor. It sounds like St. Lucians are pretty happy and content with the way their country is going. Okay? We saw a different result with the St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or in other words, SVG. We saw a very different result with SVG, mostly because, after 20 years of first time this century, really, the opposition party, the conservative opposition party, takes power again, which it was unseen and unheard of. They suddenly had a yellow wave. It seems, which of course I think possibly it was just it's been 20 years since we've seen the sun. It's time to see the sun again. That was kind of how that was going to work. But just to keep in mind, with the narrative, St. Lucia isn't the most progressive country. I mean, yeah, let's be honest. The UWP originally held power in 2016. Okay, they won the election in 2016. That was the last time they were in power and they had the majority. It was a very, very slim majority, but they did have the majority in the assembly. But then again, you have the Labour Party taking back power. It keeps going back and forth. That's kind of how this country's politics works. The results go back and forth, and this doesn't really surprise me much at all. But this time they decided to keep the Labour Party. Philip J. Pierre, who is, I want to believe he is the Prime Minister of St. Vincent of St. Lucia, and it looks like he's going to continue to be that Prime Minister. So anyway, what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below, and as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.